You're listening to the Reinvest Podcast, where each Tuesday we show business owners and entrepreneurs how to diversify into real estate by equipping you with the tools and tactics to build generational wealth. Your hosts, Garrett Gatton and Seth Ciminillo. Hey guys, welcome to another episode 156 of the Reinvest Podcast. I thought you were going to sneak that one in there again.
Actually, I think it's 157.
Is it 157? How the time flies. How the time flies.
Yeah, let me verify, but I'm pretty certain it's 157.
Been at it. Another good episode today. The last couple that we did were guys kind of local to our area, but today we're going to travel up to Wisconsin, the land of cheeses and real estate moguls. So with us today is Dustin Young. Dustin, super excited to have you on the show today. Thanks for carving out some time for us here today.
Yeah, thanks, guys. If it is episode 157, I'll take that as a cue to start peptide BPC.
It is actually. I did confirm it is 157. So there's what you need.
Get it ordered up.
Well, Dustin, I met you at a goal setting retreat. That was just briefly. We were kind of in the same Zoom call, staring at each other's face for about 6 hours, and that was good. It's always fun to meet other real estate investors from across the country who are doing all sorts of different things.
You learn a lot about somebody when you stare at their face for 6 to 7 hours on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Right.
But,
especially when you were sitting on the couch with your wife, you can see the subtle interactions.
Yeah. I was the only one that had my wife there. It would have been more interesting if everyone had their wife there. That would have been interesting.
Seth's marriage is on the rocks. We saw.
But yeah, excited to dig in today. So we know a little bit about you. We know very little. But go ahead and give us, who is Dustin? How did you get here? Why are you a real estate investor? But let's start back before you're a real estate investor. Give us the who is the Dustin?
Born and raised in Iowa to a single dad, really. He sort of instilled that like dream, plan, do mentality. You know, I helped design the house that he still lives in to this day, you know, including the trees and the lampposts along the driveway. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, I guess, you know, before it was called house hacking, that's what we were doing as we moved up from a crappy bungalow to a bigger house, and we had roommates. I just thought they were crazy people that lived with us. So I guess
who were the people? Who were they?
Oh, I don't know if you got enough time for some of those.
Were they actually just crazy people?
I mean, like one was a lawyer. We had, you know, a single guy that traditionally had his, you know, stack of Playboys. We had a single mom and her kid. We had like an old high school friend of my dad's that like had a full drum set in the bedroom, and he'd come home and he'd just be rocking out.
So your dad was renting stuff out by the room?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. And so you kind of grew up as the kid in the home with just different people coming in and out, renting here, there. Was it just because he had a heart to help people, or was there like a financial strategy behind it as well?
No, he kept, you know, the first house he bought at age 19 was just a bungalow. So we actually rented that out and moved across town, and then rented some rooms out, you know, just that like scale and grow. Yeah, you would have think I saw the writing on the wall when we had to go clean out the trashed bungalow from time to time. But as a kid, it was just you know, choose your own adventure. What can I find here to play with? Yeah, in theory, I was helping, but yeah. So yeah, went to Iowa State University, got an engineering degree. That did not go well for me. So, but
what about that didn't go well? You just didn't like it?
All of it. I mean, I had a 2.4 GPA. You know, I put on like 40 pounds in college, just some bad habits. But I met my wife in high school. We went to different high schools, but we went to the same college together. So, you know, I would never take it back.
You met her before you put the weight on. That's smart.
Yes. So from the time I met to the time we graduated college, I put on almost 100 pounds.
No.
And she still loves me. So,
you know, it's true. Yeah.
True love.
But
yeah.
To be fair, I did start at 6 foot 140. So I needed to beef up a little bit.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So,
anywho, graduated. She graduated at the same time. And then she got a job offer in Milwaukee. I had no engineering offers. So I was like, well, I love you. I'm coming to Milwaukee, I guess.
Yeah. So what was her degree in?
She's a big numbers nerd, so she did accounting, statistics, and like I don't know. She had like two majors and a minors. She's ridiculous. She's an actuary now for Northwestern Mutual, and she's moved on up to actually be assistant controller. So
Oh my
Oh, wow.
goodness! Wow,
Yeah.
yeah.
She loves she's still doing a lot of the number stuff then. So
she loves getting dirty in a spreadsheet. Yeah.
We all need someone to balance us out. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming that was not your passion.
No.
You moved to
Yeah.
Milwaukee. Did you
Yeah.
kind of had the real estate precedent from your dad?
Right.
You moved to Milwaukee.
Yep.
When did you get into real estate?
Ooh, not for a while. I took a nice little like 15-year detour into some manual labor. I was a moving company and then delivering packages. So
Now, off camera, you said about how big you got that. I mean, I was pretty shocked about you
Yeah.
started with
yeah, can
one
you
truck
explain?
route.
Yeah, real quick. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but yeah, can you
Sure.
explain? You said you started doing FedEx ground, which
Yep.
I understood this business model until you were explaining it. But yeah, explain that.
Right. So essentially, you kind of create your own independent trucking firm, and you have one customer, which is FedEx Ground, which is why they're all logoed that way. But I own the truck. I fueled the truck. I insured the truck. I paid for the driver to be on the truck. I paid their wages. They just gave us the packages and told us where to go. And then on the flip side, who to pick up from and what time to be there. So with that, you had the ability to, I started with just me. So I ran my own route for like 14 months. And then from there, I expanded. I just slowly bought more and hired more people, and, routes would grow. And so you'd split 2 routes into 3 and create another one. So yeah, so over the course of 10 years, I managed to have 30 trucks in 3 states.
So what did you do with that?
That was an unfortunate end. I actually got ran over by one of my own trucks when I was working on it, but we don't have time to go in for that. I'm alive. I'm healthy. I have no recurring issues. I did get a nice helicopter ride out of that. But in the middle of my recovery, because I didn't really know how to run a business, my business was failing without me being there. And they said, hey, we can't have a failing business. Your packages need to get delivered, so we are not going to renew your contract. Rightfully so. Fortunately, they have to give you 30 days notice. So I made some phone calls and had a little fire sale from my hospital bed so that I could actually cash out.
While you were in recovery, this was happening.
Yes.
Oh my
gosh,
word.
That's stressful. That's really stressful. What
Yeah.
year was that?
So that was 2014. Yeah, 2014.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, next month will be 12 years since my accident. Fortunately, I did split off some of those into the wife's name along the way, so they didn't take those from me. The ones out of state were doing well. I had a full-time manager on site. So I sold most of them here in Milwaukee. I still kept the ones out of state for another 6 years. So
Okay, wow.
But really the silver lining to that cloud is I got to be a stay-at-home dad for the next 4 years. My boys were 5 years old and 10 months old when it happened. So,
Wow.
Now, Dustin, I know in your bio that you provided baptized believer for 23 years. Faith's a big part of who you
Yep.
are. I mean, just Seth and I are both just strong believers, and it's not a supplement to what we do. It's the primary driver. So knowing that, talk about where was the Lord at in that process? Like, what was your journey like? The messy parts and the good stuff.
well, you do want me to cry on camera, huh? So yeah, we moved to Milwaukee in January of 2001. Like I said, high school sweethearts. We didn't get married until September 15th, 2001, which might ring some dingy bells. That was 4 days after 9/11. We did still get married. We had already planned to take a delayed honeymoon because my wife was taking an actuarial exam. So basically went back home to Iowa, got married, and then came back to Milwaukee and went to work.
Wow.
So we were at Target literally 1 week to the day after our wedding, like buying stuff that we didn't get off the registry, including what was a couple's devotional book. So she was looking at the devotional book because she's a great woman, and I was reading like car magazines across the aisle. And Saturday night, 9:50 p.m., right, stores closing. Lady walked down the aisle between us. She rounded the corner. She came back and she's like, "You two together?" And we're like, "Yeah." She's like, "Our church is having a bring your neighbor day tomorrow. Do you want to come?" And we're like, "Yeah, we've been here 9 months, kind of church shopping and hopping. Like, what's better than a personal invitation?" And we never left. So it did take us a while. We were both born and raised like Lutheran. I switched to Wesleyan in high school. We pretty much abandoned our faith in college. Just not that we were partiers, just didn't prioritize it. So yeah, we studied the Bible. We got baptized together November 17th, 2002. So that was in the Milwaukee Church of Christ. And then in 2011, a small group of us fractured in a good way. We expanded and started the Racine Church of Christ, which is the town where most of my rental properties are now.
So,
and yes, I should have died half a dozen different ways underneath that truck and along the way, but I did not.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy, man. So how long was your recovery?
Technically 4 months. Ironically, the day I sold my routes, like signed on the dotted line, was actually the day I was released back to like full duty.
Man.
Whoa.
Yeah. I think the biggest testament to faith in the church family is the day of my accident. They literally had to move my wife, my family came up from Iowa into like a conference room because there was 40 or 50 people that came to visit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, the community stuff
awesome.
is you don't realize how much you need it or that it's there until there's something that kind of stirs it up and you're either one coming to rally around someone's side or someone's rallying around their side, but you don't forget that kind of stuff. So blessing in disguise, you got to stay at home as a dad. And when did you get into real estate?
Yeah. So, right. Being the entrepreneur, it was like we're working 80-hour weeks. It was kind of nice to take a break for a while, but after a while that itch needed to be scratched, and the wife was pretty cool. She's like, "You can do whatever you want so long as you can't get run over by another truck," which leaves things pretty wide open.
Yeah, there's a lot of options.
Yeah, that's fair.
Having small kids, we loved the arcade business, Chuck E. Cheese and Dave and Buster's and all that. So I looked at maybe opening one of those, some mini golf. I looked at indoor vertical farming of all things. And I honestly don't even remember how I kind of like turned around to real estate. But I did. Much to my wife's chagrin, I was back at FedEx helping a friend out for a little bit.
She said, "Don't get run over by a truck." So you were like, "I'm not. I'm just going to go back to the place and what I was doing."
Right. Yeah. But fortunately, it was kind of like park your truck one time and then deliver to an entire shopping mall. So a lot of time to walk back and forth, and that's when I had found Bigger Pockets. So I was just
interesting. Okay, yeah,
mass consuming podcasts, and then it was like, okay, Brandon Turner said you have to act. So I'm enough research, right? Enough.
He's a youth pastor, so he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. So yeah, my first intentional rental property was a $20,000 4-bedroom 1-bath house in the hood that came with a tenant paying $650 a month.
Wow.
I mean, in the hood, $20,000 with $600 a month, that's pretty good.
Right. I was like the 3.5% rule. Like,
yeah.
So just out of curiosity, what's that house worth now?
Ooh, I have not looked. I did sell that at the peak in like 2022. So.
Oh, what did it sell for at the peak? What's that?
What did I sell it for? 75, 82, somewhere in there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So literally, Seth and I have worked with some investors here in Lima that were buying in 2011, 12, 13, and bought houses much like yourself for $20,000, $25,000, put 10 in it, and we're selling them in 2021 for like $95,000. And you're like, on one property he did pretty well, but that they have a whole portfolio of that kind of stuff. Yeah. And so it's just hard to fathom how much appreciation happened in a 10-year time frame.
Yeah. And the last tenant I had in there, I think I was at 12 or 1,300. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Incredible. That's on rent. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yep.
So is your market a lot of single family, or is there a lot of commercial and multifamily as well? Or what's kind of the mix over there? Because like in our area, old neighborhoods, a lot of 100-year-old neighborhoods,
Yep.
a lot of single family, a lot of converted duplexes that are kind of funky, and then you got a handful of commercial and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty standard, right? Milwaukee is like 2 million people, so you got a lot of bungalows, a lot of duplexes, and then obviously a smattering of 4s and 8s and some 16s. And then, yeah, there's newer developments or the bigger ones, but there's some old, turn of the century, like 32s, and they're more high rise kind of stuff.
What was the first big jump in scale for you?
So I had like 5 single family and a duplex in that area by the first one. So that was like 20 minutes north of my house in Milwaukee, and our church is 20 minutes south. So I was down there just waiting for a boiler tune-up, and I'm kind of like, what's for sale down here? And I was like, ooh, that's a really cool industrial warehouse. I like it. I was like, but it's empty, and I don't really know anything about that. I'm like, what's this across the street? It's like, it looks like an apartment building, but it's like they were trying to make it a mental health like crisis facility. But they just too much red tape. An apartment wasn't their model, so they were unloading it. But it had 15 units, and the rent roll was like $8,000, and the purchase price was $380,000.
Whoa!
Yeah, so I was like, here I go again. Score.
Yeah.
And it still had like a ton of unused space because they had, what they were going to have for nurses' stations and office space. They was no longer going to be needed for that.
Yeah.
So that ended up being a COVID project. So by the time we were done, it had 25 units, and I doubled the rent roll to a little over 16,000.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy! You bought it for 300,000.
Yeah, I paid less for that than I paid for my house that I live in.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
What
Now the asterisk there is that because it was built as a facility, all utilities were included, and it was an all electric building.
Oh wow!
How's the insulation in that in the winter?
Yeah, I mean, like it was a 1910 bungalow, and then they like added on, 15,000 square feet in the 60s, I think. So, not great. So the electric bill was like $5,000 in the winter.
Yeah,
you repositioned it. Wow. Did you refinance on it, or I
did.
And when you refinanced, what was the valuation that you got on it?
So I pretty much took the proceeds from the FedEx sales and just kept dumping cash in. So my little nugget of naivety is I was like, I looked around and I'm like, like $50,000 for rehab. Nah, it was more like 600,000 or 700,000 I put into it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But that being said, I was able to do pretty much a perfect burr. I bought it for like 380, put whatever 600 or 700 into it, and did a cash out refi for just short of that million, like 995. I couldn't get them to give me the extra 5,000.
So what's so now that you did the refinance on it, how's the cash flow look on it? I mean, are you still, obviously you're infinite return now that you get your money back out, but
right. Yeah. So, I have a full-time employee who lived on site, so he lived for free. He's, I had my office there. So there's obviously some built-in things. And after paying his salary, it really wasn't much in the positive, maybe a couple thousand a month. But obviously you get all the depreciation and that stuff. But I also
stabilized too. Oh, you did sell it?
Yeah. Off-market solicitation. Somebody came through and ended up selling for 1.8.
People are crazy, dude.
This is stupid.
People are wild out here.
You know what I love about this, though? And honestly, Dustin, we talk, this is a recurring theme. You took action. And, I think like from the outside looking in, social media, everything's so curated. You're like, people are geniuses. And the first time they buy their real estate, they know what they're doing. But it's like real estate's actually pretty forgiving, especially when you're, now granted, there were some market forces that were kind of helping offset some of the ignorance and the dumb tax there. But you did it. And what's crazy is you implemented so many of these different mechanics, right? You underestimated the rehab budget, but it was okay. You got it done. You got it cash flow, and you doubled the rent roll. You bird it, And then you sold it for $800,000 over what you bought it for.
Yes.
Well, and it's a good thing that you guys had.
And we can just end there.
Yeah. It would have been a different story had you not had some additional income or assets to put the money in to rehab it.
Sure.
So, I mean, that would have been unfortunate. But, again, I mean, like, you were still able to implement that. How long did that project take, kind of the rehab project?
Yeah, it was a full COVID project. So it was me and my handyman. And then I had a third part-time helper who was our youth pastor who was waiting to become our senior pastor. So, it took us 3 years because we didn't know what we were doing, and we just chipped away at it. And so.
But you learned a lot, I'm sure.
Yes, and I accumulated a lot of tools.
Oh, man. All right, we're going to jump into one of our show segments, our little nugget. We'll do that one afterwards.
I like it.
I jumped the gun.
I like it. So, Dustin, this is part of our show where you give our listeners a piece of advice, something fundamental to the way you operate yourself that you think kind of gives you an edge. We've had people talk about being consistent. What is that for you?
I mean, I would be remiss to acknowledge my wife being my edge. She is my sugar mama, for better, for worse. Any of the money I've made in real estate is not needed to support our family. So I've been able to continually roll it over or, spend it how I see fit to advance that. And she has, full support. So find yourself a good partner.
I would call that for better.
Which is
that is for better.
Not really a little nugget in the scheme of life, but that is definitely some good advice.
No, that is good advice.
When you say a good partner, do you mean find yourself a sugar mama?
I mean, if you can.
If you can. No, that is great. And I agree. And
I didn't know she was going to be my sugar mama, at age 15 when we met.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been a little weird if you're like, you looked as though.
You looked as though you would be able to provide.
Make a bunch of money.
Right.
No, that's true. I mean, I would not be doing anything probably in real estate if my wife did not give her full
be
support.
In it together.
It would have discouraged me to no end if I had been trying to do it alone. So,
it's funny. I tell my wife this a lot. I'm like, babe, I can withstand a lot. I've got pretty broad shoulders externally when things are good between you and I. But if things are not well in the home, it does not take much for me to be like, I can't think. Oh my gosh, everything's crumbling.
Yeah, you second guess everything.
Yeah, you do. And so it's just, you almost don't know what you have until it gets taken away. And so when there is conflict, then you realize just how vulnerable you are. And the flip side of that, I think, is true. And that's what you're saying is having a strong partner.
Unfortunately, our conflict was never between us. The conflict was when I got ran over by a truck. And
it was with the truck.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I lost, but yet I still won. Right. That definitely challenges who you are, and your world gets thrown upside down in a minute, split second in the middle of the day. Yeah. And then obviously having the support network was huge. People were watching the kids, they were cutting the grass, they were bringing meals. So just they really gave us the space to focus on us and who we were. And, technically the recovery was 4 months, but really the most of it was out of the way within the first, 3 weeks or so. So,
Well, you made something an important point, and you'd said the conflict, wasn't between us. And there have been some very pivotal moments in my relationship with my wife where we've gone through things together. And you really do emerge from that so much stronger. And you look at people who have been married for 40, 50 years, and you're like, man, you've been going through some stuff together for decades. And there's a lot of depth there. So,
we're celebrating 25 years this fall. So,
wow,
that's awesome.
That is awesome.
We've been together for 32 out of our 47 years. So I know it no other way.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, that was awesome. That was a great one. We're going to jump into our smaller pockets. So Dustin, tell us about a deal that went wrong. What happened? And then most importantly, what did you learn from it?
Still learning. I got a few options to pick from, and it's the counterpoint to finding a good spouse, which is I have a bad business partner, and we own two properties together, and it was just a verbal gentleman's agreement to be 50-50. And not surprisingly, it is not 50-50. And on top of that, and the thing that really chaps at my core is just the poor and lack of communication on his part. And we still own those properties to this day.
So how is it not 50-50? What is it?
I actually just started a spreadsheet last week. On one property, it's 3-1, and the other property, I am 100% to 0.
So how did that happen, I guess? So I guess, so gentleman's agreement, I understand that. But I mean, if the property is deeded to an entity, or is it deeded to you personally, or how is that
good
structure? Because I mean, if it was, you both were on the deed, I mean,
right.
Seems like it'd be 50-50.
One entity owns the property, and then my LLC invests in that entity. One property he's in a trust, and the other one he's in his LLC. So we initially had private money on both acquisitions. And then the private, work just didn't progress fast enough. There was no participation on his end, and I didn't have enough resources to do it on my own. Hence, I needed a partner. So it stagnated, and then the private money guy was like, "Hey, gimme," and he didn't have the money to do it, and it was my friend that I did, so I made him whole, and I've been bearing that burden along the way. And then because I had a full-time employee in the same town, we've been chipping away at the labor part of it. And he's 30 minutes away, but apparently that's kind of insurmountable to actually accomplish anything. So yeah, he's not participating on the labor part much either.
This is kind of interesting, and I'm the only reason we're pressing into this is not because we want to see how fresh this paint is for you, but
trying to understand too.
But this is one that we haven't really talked about before. People talk about bad partnerships, and it's very common, but we've never really been able to kind of pull one apart a little bit. Sure. What if you could do something over again? Approaching these two properties, like what would you do differently with it?
Can you give us some context too, like?
Yeah.
These must have been heavy rehabs. Were they flips? Were they burrs?
Yeah. They're still unfinished to this point. So the one that he has not participated in, I think he's only set foot on the property once in 5 years. That was a 3-story, full gut job.
So you guys bought a 3-story property together with private money, and the agreement was we're going to go 50-50 on this, and we're going to work together to get this thing stabilized.
So we had done the first one 50-50, and at the time, maybe it was kind of going okay. And then this opportunity came up, and we were like, yes, let's conquer the world together. So I was like, well, obviously, let's do this one together. And I found a private money lender for that one as well. So that was no money out of either of our pockets up front. But the idea was, well, let's finish the first one, and then we'll move on to that one. And just that didn't happen. So
what's been the breakdown for his lack of participation?
Initially, I had a full-time job, and then was doing a couple of houses on the side. So I was like, okay, well, hey,
his own houses.
Yeah,
okay.
Right. So he ended up with 5 or 6 rental properties, which he still owns. And he kind of wanted to get out of engineering, and he's an electrical engineer. So that was going to be his contribution. He was going to be our electrician. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, you got 6 houses now. You got income coming in, you've got retirements and savings to kind of bridge the gap. We can tackle this, and that'll make up the difference, and we'll be made whole. And then we can go conquer the world. And I think the freedom, he wasn't capable of handling it. I honestly, to this day, I don't know what his downfall was. I know his home life was not great, and he did split with his partner.
Mm.
Yeah, so I
So
don't
it
know if
sounded like a lot of stuff was happening in the background then. He
yeah,
was
I
going
think he
through.
was like 50-ish when this happened. So, he'd been a W-2 like clockwork engineer for 30 years.
And
And
you
so
said 5 years. You've had this one property for 5 years.
that one for 5 and the other one for
Wow.
6. Yeah.
Wow. That's a long time. What's the kind of the insight? Is there a path forward on how to reconcile it? You're just trying to put enough work into it to sell it and get out from underneath of it. Do you guys think you're going to take a loss on it? Are you close to cash flowing and buying them out?
The second one, I just need to force him to walk away. He's got no rights to it, basically. The first one, we are 5 months deep into a 3-week drywall project.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that, in theory, again, should be finished this week. So yeah, there's another downfall
Man.
is just contractors.
So what's the takeaway for you here?
The takeaway was I did not really know about operating agreements when we started this. And my personality is just everybody's cool, right? Everybody's a good guy like me. And not that I'm saying he's a bad guy, and I don't think his intent was to string me along for 6
Right.
years with doing nothing. And he has participated along the way. I mean, it does have new lights. But yeah, and
Yeah. But had it been spelled out really clear in an operating agreement, you would have had options.
Accountability just to say, hey, this is
there would have been there would have been a buy-sell agreement. Either you could have backed out and he would have had to buy you out, or vice versa. Like that.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. That's good advice.
Yeah.
Don't buy a property without an operating agreement. That's a great example of why.
Yeah. Even though nobody likes paying a lawyer, this is why you pay a lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah, what's interesting? It's trust but verify. So like there's certain people that I've done business with, not necessarily in a partnership capacity, but in other capacities where there's a contractual necessity there. And sometimes it's like, hey, we don't really need that. And it's like, listen, I don't know why you don't want one, but like this is honoring to the relationship because it just makes it really clear. It just
makes it clear, right?
It's like, I know you're going to hold up your end of the bargain. I know I'm going to hold up my end of the bargain. And then this just reflects the commitment that we're making.
It's like, it's like when you're like, hey, let's set up some accountability in the business and hold everybody accountable to tasks. And then everybody like starts squirming and they're like, I don't really need accountability. And you're like, wait a second. Like if we're all actually doing this, sorry, it triggered me. Anyway. No, that's a great one. Thank you for sharing that. Even though that is still seriously unfolding. It's a little vulnerable and raw and probably icky feelings when you talk about it. But
what's this guy's name?
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
And as far as like accountability goes, I mean, I've been part of, smaller pods and whatnot. And yeah, they all continue to challenge me on like, hey, you keep complaining about this. You've been complaining about this for a while. Like, what are you doing? Why are you not having a conversation? Why have you not gotten a lawyer? So this is my public declaration to the internet, right? That,
yeah, exactly.
I need to solve this problem.
So,
So
what is next? So you have done some stuff. It sounded like in your bio that you are maybe have your eyes set on small commercial. And what does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, you are catching me at like an inflection point. I realized the small neighborhood commercial is just sounded better, but really it is just a replacement for that 20,000 D-class single family home. Cheap to get into, rents are great, everything's cool until, it's a $15,000 or $20,000 roof on a $40,000 property. So actually in talks to unload one of those. If they want that one, I'm going to see if they want the other one. It's across the street. So I'm just trying to reposition the portfolio. Ironically, I've made a good friend who does industrial warehouses. So maybe if I'd stuck with that to begin with, I'd be better off. But right now, my long-term play is we're kind of on the 5-year plan. Kids are 17 and 12, so a senior and a 7th grader. And we want to retire when they're done. So retire early, 53, but do whatever. Hit the world, hit the road, travel the world. I don't know, see where they go to college.
Yeah.
One's probably going to play sports. So I have 5 years to officially replace her income so that we can retire. And the long-term play right now is that 3-story property we built together. I need to get him out of the way. I am trying to accumulate the entire city block to redevelop into 200 or 300 apartments.
Whoa.
That just escalated
Talk about
quickly.
yeah. Talk about a big, hairy, audacious goal, man. I love that.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's just part of it. I'm actually trying to accumulate like 4 city blocks.
What is going on in that city over there?
It's going to be different after he's done with it, I'll tell you that.
They commissioned a housing study that said that the county needs 800 housing units per year for the next decade.
Whoa.
And the city needs 150 apartments a year for the next decade.
You'd like to participate in that. I think
I
that's
would.
a great idea.
I think you should.
That's awesome, man. Well, you know what? What we just did is we committed for another episode in like 3 years.
Yes.
That would be awesome to circle back around. So, Dustin, hey, in closing, what's been one of the best resources in your business development, your real estate investing development?
I mean, private money lenders are great. It's just education, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the education is great, but the small pod accountability groups that come out of that, masterminds, are really kind of what hold your feet to the fire, much like Alex did with like, hey, let's be intentional about planning our year and, pick your word. Like, what are you going to do? Who are you going to be? Who you want to be? So
awesome, man. Where can people find out more about you, connect with you?
Probably most active on Instagram, which is DNAMKE, just Dustin and Amanda, Milwaukee. So
nice.
We will put that link in our show notes for people to reach out. What we've realized is people sometimes they just want something about your story resonates with them, and they want a little more information. And so we appreciate being available. Dude, I'm excited again to follow what's going to happen. And thanks for taking time.
And one more thing before we stop.
Sure.
The one thing I like about what you're doing is that there's been evolutions within your adult life of you doing different things. And even now that you've been in real estate, even shifting asset classes over time, repositioning, and it's okay. Mm-hmm. Like, I think people get so afraid that they got to do one thing, and if they don't follow through and stick with it for the rest of their life, even though they're miserable, they were failures or something. Or even within real estate, like, I already started with single family, so I got to stick with it. I appreciate your story. It's okay to make adjustments and to do what you love and to, don't feel like you're shackled to your job, even if it's your own business. You can change it. You are in control. Mm-hmm. So I like that.
And marry a sugar mama.
And marry up.
All right, man. Dustin, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
As always, excited that you joined us for another episode of the Reinvest Podcast. If you want to learn how you can use your hard-earned capital to diversify into real estate, go to our website, reinvestcapital.us, and shoot us a message. Move farther, reach higher, and grow deeper.